All right. Sorry about this. My rib is 9:05 over here, and let's take a long davening.
Jacob, do you know how excited your father would be if he would know that you're in the bungalow outside giving share through technology to Zoom, a video share? He'd be so excited.
Yeah, but I've been learning on a video. The first time I learned with a video from the bungalow colony, I learned with Shmuel Gedalia Berezow with a video conference calling thing. It's gotta be 15 years ago for sure. More.
Oh, really?
Maybe more. No, not more. Was my father alive? I don't know. Give or take that amount of time, yeah. No, yeah.
What was then? What was it?
What?
What was then? What did they have?
It's something like you plugged it into the wall and you plugged it into the regular phone and you were able to see with the video. Something like this too. Just didn't work as well. But anyways.
So Yaakov, my father, I don't think ever saw a cell phone.
I would imagine not. Right? I would imagine not. Yeah. Listen, I told you when my kids by Zoom, they needed to actually use a home phone, right? They picked up, they heard a dial tone, they said, "What is that noise?" I'm serious. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we're on the Mishnah on the bottom of Kuf Mem Chesam Beis. Yeah, these next couple of have a lot of halacha l'maisa tonight and tomorrow night. So a lot of halacha l'maisa. So Zog the Mishnah, yeah. The Mayna Adam as Archav as Paparais of Mitiv. A person could count his guests and his menu, right? I don't know if it means menu exactly, but I think it just means the amount of people that are going to need portions. So Mayna Adam is Archav as Paparais of Mitiv from his mouth of a layman aksav. But he's not allowed to read a guest list. Okay? So we'll get to that when we do the Gemara. We'll get to the halacha l'maisa with that. Meifis adam im banav and bnei beisai ala shulchan. A person can make a lottery or a raffle with his people that are part of his household, meaning who gets which portion first. As long as he's not, his kavanah is like, okay, who's going to get the biggest piece is going to get the smallest piece. That you're not allowed to do. You can only do it basically for who's going to get it in order. Okay, we'll see why you can't do that. Meaning again, it can't be. You can't give out one piece versus a large piece versus a small piece, whatever it is. The most practical of this is like pirches on Shabbos afternoon, that that they make raffles on Shabbos afternoon. The question is, how is that mutter? No. I'm saying that's giving out different prizes as a raffle. No? Yeah? Can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay.
We hear you.
All right.
We don't have an answer.
Oh, they stumped you guys. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's not really clear how exactly they go about doing that. Fine. Okay, Matilan Chaloshin ala Kotcha b'Yomtiv. Chaloshin is just another word, and the Gemara is going to discuss where that word comes from. But Chaloshin is also a lottery for Kotchim on Yom Tif. Avaloy alamonis, but not for portions on Yom Tif. I mean, you can give out for the Kohanim. This is the Kohanim of who's going to have what on, who's going to get which portion by the Kotchim, but you can't do monos, which we'll see in the Gemara what that means. So Zakti Gemara, my time, why can't you read a guest list on Shabbos? We're afraid that you're going to do is you're going to erase it, because what does anybody do with a list, right? So you say, oh, this guest is not coming, so you erase the name. This guest is coming, so you end up writing the name. So we're afraid that you're going to mess around with the guest list, so therefore it's awesome. That's the first shita. No, it's nothing to do with that. It's just like we discussed many blot ago, right? And that is that.
Where does the guy have it's Shabbos? He doesn't have a pen in his hand. He has a list. So the people who keep lists for Tilm, they can't keep the list on Shabbos. Maybe don't get a name.
That's an excellent question.
They can't have the list.
That's an excellent question. I think the answer to that is that by Tillim list, you don't usually erase it on, from day to day. Right?
What about you have a simcha list?
Well,
and you have
Hashem,
people
I had a
raffle.
You take his
Yeah,
the list.
You have a
That's true, but it doesn't happen. I mean, the refuahs hopefully happen often, but it's not like you on a day-to-day basis
Okay.
scratch things, scratch.
What
I don't
about
know,
what
but
about
the question's better than the answer.
Jack,
Yeah.
what about a gabbai in shul has a list for aliyahs?
Right, so it's the same thing that the people don't know. First of all, also in shul, there's more people there, so they're going to remind you, like we had the other day. Right,
Aaron, I'll buy you a box of paper clips.
Right? Yeah. But there's people.
what about
there's
a
people.
simcha list?
Yeah, Nechanami, a simcha
That's
list is
good.
a
What
problem.
it is, a simcha list. That's what we're talking about.
It's exactly, yes, a simcha list is a problem. A simcha list is a problem. So we're going to see. Let's get through the sugi and we'll go through what the practical is. But the second Abaya's reason is just because simply you're not allowed to read shatarei hedyotos, which we define, right? So that's the question is exactly how you define that, right? But we had two pshatim. Shatarei hedyotos come in because you're going to come to read financials. Right?
So because I'm reading this list, this guest list, I'm going to read shatarei hedyotos.
No. I don't think it's a gezeira that way. We just look at the guest list that it is considered a shatarei hedyot. No?
I mean, okay. I hear
Well,
you.
no, maybe not. No, you're right. The lush.
Maybe pshat is you're counting up who gave what for a gift.
Oh, very good, Aaron. I was about to say that. Oh, let's see. I invited this guy. Did he pay for his?
Right. Maybe you're doing it that way.
No, but you're right, David. You're right. It's Shema that you're going to read shatarei hedyotos. Right now, why is that not a gezeira, right? Because it's a gezeira dirabanan. Again, shatarei hedyotos is reading newspapers and reading stuff that's not negaya. That's one way. And shatarei hedyotos, the other one is just letters. Letters, personal letters that people correspondence. Right? We had that about 30 blot ago. So Taisus brings both shitas. Whatever it is, it's a machlokes. Either we're afraid you're going to erase it, or we're going to afraid that you're going to read shatarei hedyotos. Another one of the gezeiras of erasing is playing Scrabble. The Paiskim don't let you play Scrabble on Shabbos if you normally take score with a pen and paper to take score. Then the Paiskim say you should not play Scrabble because we're afraid you're going to write something. Yeah. Fine. So now, what's the difference between the two sheets?
I thought you allowed that with like the books or whatever. No.
Yeah. That's if you don't normally take score. So then you could take score by using page numbers in a book, right? But that's all if you don't normally take score. If you normally take score, we're afraid you're going to write it down. Right. So what's the difference between these two sheets? And we have this long Gemara here back and forth about what the difference is in the opinions. Yeah. So you can be now. The difference between them is the kasav akaisel umidli. Let's say you write it on a wall, high up on the wall, right? So now, no, you're not going to climb up the wall to take down the guest list. So there's no chashash. But the one that says if you're going to allow them to read this list, you're going to end up reading other papers that you're not supposed to read on Shabbos that you're going to have. So Gemara says, why don't we say, according to the one that says that maybe you're going to erase it, why don't we say that maybe you're going to read it? Are we not chayshish for erasing it, even if it's on top of Tanya? We learned in a brayso. You're not allowed to read to the ner. Even if the ner, right? You're not allowed to use a candle to read if you're by yourself on Shabbos. Right? We had this way back in the beginning of the Masechta. And Rabbah said that even if it's two stories high, even if it's two mardois is what you lead an animal with. Even if it's 10 stories on top of each other, one on top of the other, so clearly Rabbah says it's a light plug, meaning once a Chachamim asered it, so you're not allowed to do it, right? You're not allowed to read to the light of a lamp, even if there's no way you're going to get to it. So the same thing here. If the Chacham said you're not allowed to read a guest list, even if it's hanging from the ceiling, it's not going to help. So we're going to go on to a different shot. The difference between them is the cost of a kaisel and mistasi. You wrote it on the wall, but you wrote it on the bottom part of the wall. For the one that says you might erase it, that's the concern. So we are concerned because you can bend down and erase it. Because the wall, right, was not going to be confused with a. You're not gonna forget that you're not allowed to, that you're gonna write. I'm sorry, that you're gonna read shtaris. Just because you're reading something that's on a wall doesn't mean you're gonna come read a newspaper. So Gemara says the opposite. The one that says that perhaps you're gonna read shatarei hedyotos, why don't we be chayshish that maybe you're gonna erase? So, and we don't have an answer to that. The chayik atavla v'apinkus. It's talking about where you chiseled it out on a board or on a pinkus is a notebook literally, but it means obviously some sort of cement. Right? The one that says maybe you're going to erase it, that's not a concern because you can't erase these things. Right? It's chiseled into stone or whatever it is. But the one that says perhaps you can end up reading, newspapers, then we are chashin. Fine. So now the Gemara asks back. The Madam says maybe you're going to erase it. Why isn't he concerned you're going to read shatarei hedyotos? And if you're going to say that reading from a tablet is not going to get confused with paper, but Tanya, right? A person can count how many people he wants to put inside and how many people he wants to sit outside. Rashi says people is sitting inside is more chashuv. Sitting outside is not as chashuv. The common money is also and how many portions is he going to put in front of them? Michtav shalgabi kaisel, right? But he could read it from something that's on the wall. But he's not allowed to read it from a list that's on a board or on a notebook. So hey, tell me what's the case? If you say that it was written in ink, so what's the difference in either case? The chayik must be talking about where he chiseled it out. You can read something that's on a wall, but you're not allowed to read on something that's on a notebook. So basically, we're saying the same question. Why isn't each opinion chash for the other opinion? Ella. So we say because of a kaisel umidli. It's somewhere where you wrote the guest list on a wall and it was high up on the wall. The kasha of the rabba. And if you're going to say you have a kasha rabba, the rabba says it's a loy plug, right? The rabba tanoi, rabba is a machlokes tanoim. The tanya minor adam is archav is paparoisa mipiv. A person is allowed to count his guests, archav is guests, paparoisa is his meals that he's going to give out in his mouth. But he can't read it from a paper. Ravater says it's mutter makter michtav shal gabi a kaisel. He allows you to read it from a wall. Tell me what's the case. If it's written on the bottom of the wall, why are we afraid that he's going to just bend over and erase it? The cost of a midley must be talking about where he wrote it and he lifted it up way up on top of the roof, on the top of the wall. So we hear from this, the rabbis is a machlokes tanoim shmami no. Right? So therefore, that's what the Gemara is saying. So it comes out very interesting that we have a machlokes tanoim whether we say loy plug, meaning whenever the chachamim make a gezeira, do we say the gezeira applies and forget about it? Doesn't make a difference what kind of shtick you're going to say or not. So here we're saying it's a machlokes tanoim. Okay? And then the Gemara continues, v'hani tanoi kahani tanoi. And these tanoim are like other tanoim. Right? The Tanya, it's going to be a kasha. Ain't royin b'mara b'Shabbos. A person's not allowed to look at a mirror on Shabbos. Rameir matir b'mara hakavua b'kaisel. Rameir says you're allowed to look at a mirror that's attached to the wall. Mashna kavua b'kaisel. Why on the one that's attached to the wall is okay? Mitkar sheina kavua. Mitkar he's going to remember. Sheina kavua nami adachi v'achi mitkar. Even if it's not on the wall, he's going to remember. Okay, just as a background to this. They're saying that you're not allowed to look at a mirror on the wall. You're not allowed to look at a mirror on Shabbos. Why? Because we're afraid you're going to see some extra hair, and you're going to go get a scissors and cut your hair. Right? And Rameir says it's mutter to put it on a mirror. You're allowed to look at a mirror that's on the wall.
Is that what you do during the week? We're worried that you're going to do the same thing during the week. So during the week, I look at a mirror and I run and I get a scissor and I start cutting my hair.
Yeah, that's what they're afraid of. Yeah.
I'm saying, who does that?
Well, I don't know, but isn't that what are you looking in the mirror for if you're not looking to improve your looks? No, or at least see if they're okay. If something's out of whack, you're gonna change it. No,
I guess so.
Yeah, so that's what we're saying. So the mayor's matab mara kavua because he allows it with something that's a mirror that's attached to the wall. So we ask mashno kavua because why are you allowed to if it's stuck to the wall? Why? Because you have to go run and get scissors, and then you want to make it back to the wall. So if it's not on the wall, while you're going to get, you still have to go get the mirror. You're going to remind yourself. So when it answers, no, we're talking about a mirror that's made out of metal. Why do we say that a metal, and we do paskin like this, why do we say that a metal mirror is awesome? Because the person is going to take his hair, and this is a wild gezeira. A person's going to take his hair, and he's going to cut it off on the edge of the mirror. If it's a metal mirror, he's going to use the mirror to cut his hair.
Yeah,
right? So
this doesn't apply today.
Why doesn't it apply today?
You're going to take off the mirror and cut your hair?
Right, so that's l'chayr. That's what the place can say that nowadays that we don't have jagged mirrors, so it's not a problem. Right? I'm saying I don't know if they had jagged mirrors back then either.
What? So you're allowed to look in the mirror or not?
Well, b'chlal, are you allowed to look in the mirror? Shulchan Aruch paskins men are not allowed to look in the mirror even during the week. Right? Because of Isha, because that's what women do.
Bagad Isha?
Yeah. But the Meister Kiva Eger says that once people already are looking in mirrors, so it's allowed. Yeah, so, no, but we go, yes, we do paskin that when it's attached to the wall, which is our mirrors, then it's allowed. Right?
Why?
What?
Why today? I'm saying, why are you allowing it?
No, and back then also. That's what paskin like that. Whatever it is, you see from there that it's a Machlokes Tanaim, whether we say loy plug, because Rameir is clearly not saying loy plug, right? Because he's saying that a mirror attached to the wall, you are allowed to look at it. Yeah? Anyway, so that's the end of that sugya. So the bottom line is that there's two reasons why you're not allowed to read from a guest list, right? So Lamaisa, that is what we paskin like. The shaila that comes up a lot more often is what about women reading from a menu? Right? What about a woman? Also, by the way, Rabbi Yasha was quoted as saying that nowadays that we're not so makpid. Everybody always has leftovers. So we're not so makpid. So we're not afraid that you're going to come really erase. It seems like he's going with the loy plug. Not the loy plug. And it's not a problem because nowadays we're not so makpid on pieces that we're going to start erasing. But the shaila that comes up much more often is for women.
How are you erasing nowadays? You don't carry the pen on Shabbos. You just have the
No, but you have a pen in your kitchen. Most kitchens have pens.
So you're afraid you're going to get the pen to cross off?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, but it's more negaya to menus. It's more to get negaya to menus, right? So they quote of Shlomo Zalman as saying that menus is not an issue. But
to have people, everyone writes notes in their Gemaras. So what's that? Why is that not an issue?
What?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Why is
What's the case according to Rabbi Yasha Shlomo Zalman? What is the case? What's the mitzias of the case?
Which case? Which case?
What you're talking about from those Gedolei Poskim? What is the case? What happened?
Okay. You talking about the menu part or the guest?
Whatever it is. What are you talking
about? A lady,
about?
This happens all the time. A lady has she has a menu, right? She doesn't remember from one Yom Tov Suda to the next what she wants to plan on serving. So she keeps the menu. So she keeps the menu there. Now, during the week, a lot of times women, they make a list, right? And as they finish preparing it, they erase it.
They check, whatever they do,
Yeah, or check it off, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So then how can you go look at a menu on Shabbos?
What? She's gonna cross something off? That's Oh, okay. I didn't understand what the case is. That's all.
Yeah. So that's what he said. So Shlomo Zalman says that it's mutter. Oh, I can't remember now why they would say that it's mutter. But the way out, the Poskim can say the way out of this is if you have somebody else who it doesn't pertain to him, meaning you have a guest or a kid in the house. So they're not the one preparing the meal. So you have them read it. We're not afraid that they're going to be the ones, they're not going to erase it. Right? That's what the...
If my wife writes all the meals for Yom Tov and she puts it on the fridge, you're not allowed to have that list?
Correct. You're not allowed to read that list.
You're not allowed to read that list.
I read it all Yom Tov.
Okay.
I want to see what I'm getting the next meal.
You could the men could read it. The men is not an issue. The men could read it. That's what the place can say. The men could read the guest list also, because not negate it to them. They're not in charge of.
So if the husband is there, does the wife have a way out that the husband will tell her you can't do anything with the list?
Yeah, the wife could ask the husband to read the list, unless you say that the husband is involved with the meal preparation. Also, I don't know.
So, but one second. So I don't understand why this doesn't carry over to Gemaras.
It doesn't carry over to Gemaras because you're learning, so you're doing something that's your Isaac in Torah. That's what I would say. And when you're Isaac in the Torah in a mitzvah, then you're not going to remember.
But learning by a lamp is not the same?
Learning by a lamp, why? Maybe the gezeira was meant for reading. I don't know if it meant for you. Yeah, I hear. Okay, you got me on that.
No,
one.
I'm saying, as you're saying it, I'm saying learning by a lamp is also.
No, it's very good. It's very good. You got me. I hear. I would think that maybe reading.
Maybe he's right.
What? You shouldn't what? You shouldn't learn on Shabbos now because you might write notes? There's unfortunately a lot of people that do that.
Only in a base medrash. Only in a base medrash. For someone else's Gemara.
I hear. A lot of people sign up for this one. I don't know. I hear. I'd have to look into that. Okay, I thought maybe
does it make a difference if your wife types up the list on the computer?
You mean she always does it on, let's say, an iPhone or a tablet, and she wouldn't erase it. I hear. I don't know. I hear.
If you put plastic,
So you could see Yaakov. You could have guys sign up to be shomer in the base medrash. He just walks around drinking Pepsi and makes sure the guys don't learn.
And he's a Christ tzaddik.
Yeah.
Ramara, which shift are you taking?
That's right. Whichever one's open, I don't care. Whichever one's open.
I hear. Okay, yeah, Doctor, what do you want to say?
I wanted to say that. How about if you put the list in a plastic? So therefore, you like a memory.
So some poskim say that you should do that. You put the list in a piece of plastic, and like this, you can't write on the plastic anyways. I don't know. I don't know if I'm so comfortable with that, because why is that different than a tablet, like the Gemara discusses, right? Why is it different than a tablet? And people do write on plastic.
I don't know. You write on plastic until you remember to write on plastic. It could remind you. I don't know.
I hear. No, some places can do. Some places can do bring that, right? But
the bottom line, what do the places can hold? You're allowed to have that list or not?
You're allowed to give what?
Are you allowed to make that list or not? Is your wife allowed
You're allowed to make it. The question is, you're allowed to make it. The question is, are you allowed to read it?
What do you mean? Who's reading it off the? You're reading it off.
What do you mean, Zev? You have a 2-day yontif, so you have all 4 meals written down. And comes the second day lunch, your wife needs to look at it to see what kind of dressing you're having on the salad, and she wants to check it off to make sure that everything's done.
She has to do before yontif shnai mikra ve'echad tagim before yontif on the list.
So I'm saying, you go through each meal, you don't remember what dressing, what salad, what was, everything's in the fridge. You don't know. So you come, your wife takes it out and she starts checking off to make sure that there's everything for the meal. It's not. It happens.
So what do you mean? So your wife can't put the list on the fridge?
No, but if you're going to read,
she can't read it at all.
Right. The pashtus is you cannot read it. So somebody else should read it who's not in charge of making the sudas, who's not is not a chashash that they're gonna
When
mark
you're
it
saying
off.
reading it, you have to read it verbally, or you just look at it, scan it. The women,
Oh, that's an excellent question. It's an excellent question because
And
what
what
we're
if it's
saying
a
is that
picture
thinking
instead
it
of
you're
words?
allowed to. It's a picture?
Yeah.
What do you mean it's a picture?
You take a picture of what the food looks like and you put it on there. That way you're not reading, you're looking at a picture. And there's no
That's like what
subtitles,
Dr.
so you get rid of that problem.
That's like what Dr. Zakarowitz wanted to say, that maybe that's not something that you write on
but
because
the
you don't write
women
on a
don't
picture.
do that today. The women today write the menu.
No, but he's saying, but Jesse's saying maybe that's an eitzah.
So I'm asking you, so you have to read it, or could you scan it with your eyes?
No. See, scanning it with your eyes is reading it. Scanning it, that's a good eitzah that you're bringing, but lamaisa, when the Mishnah says you're allowed to think about it, you're allowed to think about it without it in front of you. If it's in front of you, then that's called because everything we read without moving our lips, right? We just read, right? So reading is a problem. Thinking about it when you're reading it off a paper is a problem, right?
So what are you suggesting the ladies do?
I don't know, because at least I feel a little good. I had my nephew here he's here in person instead of being on the Zoom. So he got me to Shmir Shabbos Kolchas, and I was thinking, okay, my memory, because I looked this up mamish 2 hours ago, and I couldn't remember the reason. Then Baruch Hashem, he doesn't bring a reason, but he says Yitachin that it's okay to look at a menu. Yitachin shemut latzis bakadei liros v'liskar as haseder, to know the order. He doesn't say why he matters it, but it quotes Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach saying that it would be okay to look at a menu. I don't understand why.
I think it's because of Shalom bias.
And that's why he's always seen smiling, because he let his wife use a menu.
I don't think she had as complicated menus as our wives have.
I would imagine that you are correct. I would imagine that is correct.
Well, Shlomo Zalman Auerbach smiled. He said it's they'd written one of the Svarim. He said his face is Shus Rabin. That's why he smiled. Even when he had very, very pain after his wife died, he had tremendous facial pain. He smiled, and he said, they asked him why. He says, because my face is Shus Rabin. People should see me smile.
I hear, but Lamaisa, she never had, right, I guess. Yeah, but Lamaisa, she never had that amount of foods that I'm sure they didn't serve that amount. I don't know. Lamaisa, he says it's okay. He says you're talking that it's okay. I'll try and do a little bit more research.
Is this what the New Hampshire is relying on, that you can read the menu? The Shmir Shabbos Kolchas says you're allowed.
I don't know.
That's the least of their problems. That's the least of their problems.
Can you take parrots off the Daf thing now? Come on, what's tomorrow?
Anyways, yeah. Okay. Anyways, weiter. So now we're on to the next chumrah, right? Which is this one. This next chumrah is really, till now we start off with the women. What?
Parrots will say, we'll read menu for scotch. She has a new job, parrots. We'll read menus for scotch.
Yeah. But anyways, so now we started off with the ladies. Now we're starting with the yeshiva bacher on the next Gemara. So Tana Rabbanan, yeah? It's about 7-8 lines up from the bottom. We're going to put a lot of the magazines and newspapers out of business with this one if we keep this. Yeah, Tana Rabbanan. Ksav ha'mahalach tachas hatzura, writing that's under a picture, the tachas hadiyuknois are under drawings. Also, the Krois of Shabbos, you're not allowed to read them at Shabbos. With the yukna atzma, af b'chol asur, and to make it, the yukna itself is even asur during the week. I'm sorry, not to make it, to look at it. Also, l'stakaba, mishum shenemar, al tifnu el elilim, because you shouldn't turn to elilim. My Talmud, how do you learn that out? Amar Rav Chanan, al tifnu el mada aschem. Don't turn to something that you created yourself. Meaning, so the Gemara is saying, don't even look during the week at paintings and stuff like that.
Yaakov, so we can't read the Ated centerfold on Shabbos?
Oh, exactly right.
But you said a few weeks ago that there was some heter.
Yeah, it is a heter. But first,
I listen when you talk. I listen when you.
Yeah, Rabarn, you're muted. Rabarn. Rabarn, you're muted. He's muted. He doesn't.
We're not looking for hetas here. We're trying to learn a Black Gemara. You look for a het on your own time. Trying to hear what the Amoraim said. You know what I mean?
anyways, yes. So, Lamaisa Gered, it says you're not allowed to read a caption. So, like, the people that go into the museums on Shabbos afternoon. So you're going to go to a museum and you're going to look at the caption under the thing. It's right here. It says it's also to do it. It's also to do it. So you get all these newspapers and on you read the paper.
Rashi says, Koisel Chayas Mishunis. It's talking about Chayas or fights Mechamas David the Goyas. It doesn't say stam captions.
What do you mean? What? Because they didn't have captions of people back then.
That's what you say. I mean, what Rashi is saying specifically only in these cases.
No, he's not saying Kigoin Bnei Adam Hamitzayrim B'Koisel Chayas Mishunas Edyukna Shal Bnei Adam Shal Maisim Kigoin Melchem. No, what do you mean? It's people also. Wars, armies, and stuff like that. And are they right under the Tzura? Right? Tzuras Chaya Plinius V'Zut Yugnas Pliny of Plinius. This is the picture of Pliny and Pliny. It's exactly a description of the picture. Right? So when you're looking at the paper, you want to say, okay, this is Yanim, There's a problem for Darche because they're in the picture, they're in the paper every week. This is Darche doing this is Darche doing that.
It's right? Not us, it's the attend.
Whatever. No, Sean, I'm saying whatever it is. I'm talking about even the local papers,
so,
right?
The yeshivas who have pictures of the Gedolim in the halls, they can't have that because you walk in the hall Shabbos and you look, whose Godel is this, who's that?
Right. So okay. So now that's what that's what the Gemara says, and there's no cooler brought. There's no cooler. So two of the coolers that are brought.
We're gonna take that a few. We're gonna take that a few pictures in the hallways of Aaron.
One of the coolers is that if you know who the person is, then you're allowed to read it. Because I'm saying it's not. What is it? You show a Rosh Hashiva sitting and learning. I'm saying if you recognize him, so there's nothing to it. The other heter is the same heter that we said for reading newspapers was the Magen Avram, who says that if you enjoy it, so then we're not answering on Shabbos, even though most Achronim disagree. But he says if you enjoy it, so then these things are mutter. That's basically what you have to hang your hat on with these things, right? But anything that you enjoy, yeah. The Pasha of reading is not. There's the Pasha in Shulchan Aruch doesn't give any heter for this.
Because of this reason?
It's shatarei hedyotos. It's the same thing as shatarei hedyotos. It's reading. If you're going to do this, you're going to read about wars and read about this and that. Even though reading the news me'ikar din is okay, but that's not nowadays. Nobody's reading it for the news. We all know the news, right? You're reading it because you enjoy reading about wars and stuff like that. I mean, the shilas that come up are all the time. People want to study on Shabbos, right? They want to do all sorts of things, right? So the only thing you have is this Magen Avram. I mean, that's pretty much that what you have. That if you enjoy it, so then it's okay.
See, Yaakov, I would say that if someone relies on the Shpacha magazine for the news, he could read it on Shabbos.
Okay, maybe Taka. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to get such reliable news. That's the only thing.
Isn't also the problem of looking at the ads?
Yeah, that goes without saying. That's mamash also. There's no heter at all to look at ads. That's no heter. There's no heter at all. That we'll see tomorrow, but Hashem probably in tomorrow's daf. It's going to come up. Yeah. That is no heter. This is assuming nothing to do with ads, just looking at captions.
All the newspapers have ads. I mean, that's how they make their money.
Yes. Yeah, I don't see really I really don't know. Everybody reads these papers on Shabbos.
With Rashi's shot in
blanking out. Your Bluetooth is not behaving.
Yaakov, middle of service this Shabbos. The guy told me middle of service difference because I only read the local newspapers for the ads.
Right, that's the problem. That is the problem. It's really schwer. Okay, we'll see that tomorrow, Bez Hashem. Okay, let's go. It's getting a little late. Maybe it's just a very negay l'maisa daf. So mafis adam impanov, right? A person can make a raffle with his kids. Impanov impnei beisay in, right? With 3 lines up in the bottom. With his house and the people part of his house in vim acharloi, and with nobody else. You're not allowed to do it with people that are not in your family. My time it could be Yudam Shmuel. Rabbi Yudam Shmuel b'nei chabura maklidin zalzeh. Over mishum mido mishum mishkol mishum minyan mishum loivin uparim b'yavtiv. Bnei Chabura who are always makpid, right? That they do tit for tat, meaning you're going to get this amount, I'm going to get that amount, you're going to get this amount, I'm going to get that amount. Therefore, they're going to end up. If you're going to end up starting to split meals on Shabbos, then you're going to end up coming to counting things, weighing things, lending, and all that type of stuff. So therefore, that's why you only allowed to do this with your bnei bayis, where it's all coming from one person's pocket, and therefore it's not a problem. Right? Ukedivrei Beis Hillel, like we saw yesterday, af mishum ribbis, you could even have a ribbis issue, right? Because you may borrow some part of the meal, and then you may end up paying something back, and the price went up in the interim. So Gemara says, Zihachi banav bnei beis nami. So then people in your house also the same thing. So Gemara answers, banav bnei beis. I know time I could Rav Yehuda Marav, Damar Rav Yehuda Marav. Mortal lahavas banav bnei beis beribbis k'lei latim on tam ribbis. Very interesting teretz. He's saying you're allowed to lend the ribbis to your own household to teach them the tam of ribbis and show them like how dangerous ribbis is.
You're not teaching them how to collect the ribbis?
What? Oh, so that's what Gemara is going to say later, right? Yeah, but that's what the Gemara is saying right now. You're teaching them ribbis, and then you hope that they chop how bad ribbis is, and then you hope that they don't take that and take advantage of other people. Right?
Or you're teaching them how to make ribbis.
Right. So let's see later with that. So so if that's the case, then why can't you raffle off a large portion versus a small portion? Why are we not letting you do that? So when it says, yeah, you're right. You have to look at there's something missing from the Mishnah. This is how you have to learn the Mishnah. A person can make a raffle with his kids and the people part of his house on a table. By the way, I think Bnei Beisai doesn't mean anybody related to him. A guest that's sitting by him for Shabbos is considered Bnei Bayis, right? And therefore, because they're all eating from him, so it's all coming from one wallet, right? Afilu mana gedola keneged mana katana, and that's you're allowed to do even a large portion versus a small portion. My time Rav Yehuda Marav, like Rav Yehuda Rav says, in banav bnei Beisai in acherim loy. But that's only with the Bnei Bayis, but not with anybody else. My time, Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, right? That's like Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, right? That because they're makbid on each other, so they're going to be over. Mana Gedola Keneged Mana Katana Afachol Lacherim Aser, but a Mana Gedola with a Mana Katana, even during the week is Aser. My time was Shum Kuvya because of gambling, right? So he's saying that the part that says that you're not allowed to do Mana Gedola, Mana Katana, that is a problem even during the week because of gambling. Because people are not going to be happy that they had to give up on part of their
What's
thing.
The
main reason why gambling is also is because it's called a smachta, not kanya. When I make a bet, right? When I make a bet against you, so I'm assuming I'm going to win, and then I lose. I really had no das to lose this money, right? So therefore, I didn't really give it to you, and you end up being a gana for me.
So
I didn't really have the proper das.
What's the heck for raffles for yeshivas?
So that's that's so they're really for Svardim.
Because that you never think you're gonna win. That's the opposite. You never think you're gonna win.
Or when they tell you donated last year, donate again.
Well, I'm saying, but the raffles you never think you're gonna win.
Right. So the thing is like this. So the mechilik between, for Ashkenazim at least, the difference is by Ashkenazim is that if it requires some sort of knowledge, then that's what we're marked. But if it's total chance, then the Ramah is Mekel.
What do you mean knowledge?
What?
What do you mean by knowledge?
Meaning if it's something like, let's say poker.
There's a chachma to it.
Right. So poker, there is a chachma too. I have no idea how to play poker, but that's what they say. There is a chachma to poker, even though there's obviously chance. There is chance because it has to do with, you don't know which cards you're going to get, et cetera, assuming you're not cheating. Right? There is chance, but Lamaisa, there's a way to play it. So therefore, since you have some control, right? Therefore, you didn't really have in mind. But if it's a game with dice or something like that, which is a total chance, so you never, when you decided to gamble, you really never had it in your head that you're going to win because you had no idea if you're going to win or not. Right? That's the tzad kula for Ashkenazim. Right? Svardim don't go with that kula though.
So Yaakov, in a game like chess on Shabbos, why is that okay?
Well, you don't usually gamble. You're not going to chess. You're not gambling for money. If you do it's chess for money, might be an issue. right? Stop playing chess is not. I mean, assuming everything else all being equal, then it's only here we're talking about where you're giving out different pieces. It's for different amounts, so people are getting different amounts. Right? I mean, you made a raffle for it, and people are hopefully getting their portion. Okay, that's a whole different sugi. Bez Hashem will do Bava Metzia, and we'll learn all that. Or Sanhedrin. I'm sorry. Anyway, so Matil and Chaloshin. So that I'm just warning you now. The Geshmaka part of the daf is over with. Now here it gets a little rough, and not hard. Just I got it to Gemara shtickle. Matil and Chaloshin. Right, so the Kohanim can do raffles. My avaloy alamonis, but you're not allowed to do it on the portions. Rav Yaakov the Bas Yaakov, like we had this before. This is Rav Yaakov, the son of the daughter of Yaakov. Right, Rav Yaakov, the son of daughter. Right, and on the side here, I don't know. I have this new Gemara here, so everything is numbers. But it's because the father was not a good guy, so they did not want to call. They didn't want to call him by his father's name. Right, so that's why it's Rav Yaakov, the son of the daughter of Yaakov. I just had a shaila for today, actually. When the father is a non-Jew, right? What do you write in the ksuba? Right? It's a mistake people make. They think when the father is a non-Jew, right? So they think that the kid's name is Ben Avram. The kid's name is not Ben Avram. Right? The kids looked at like a Yid. The kid is a Yid, not a Ger. The mother's Jewish, right? The father is Shver. So it's not, but he's not Ben Avram. So you either do it Ben the mother, like it says here, or, well, it doesn't really, it says Basya, or you go with the mother's father's name on the ksuba. Yeah? Anyway, so that's what goes on over here. Fine. So Amar Rav Yaakov, the Bas Yaakov, Avaloy Alamana Shachol B'Yomtiv. All it means is that you can't do the weekday portions, right? The weekday things that you're giving out to the Kohanim, you can't do it on Shabbos. So Pshita, the Gemara says, Pashut, why would you be able to do raffles for weekday on Shabbos? So Mao, the same is Landau on here tonight? Yes, Mao, the same Hoyel Luksiv Va'amech Kimarive Koyin, that your nation is like Kohanim that fight. Right? So So since we don't want them to fight, and Kohanim are very fighting type people, Aaron Kaplan, I don't know what you want to say about that, but that's what the pasuk says, that Kohanim like to fight. So I don't believe that about you. But anyways, so
I believe it.
Oh.
Wow, Zevi, wow.
Anyway, so
Zevi, this is being recorded.
I ask you public mechila. I'm sorry. But I love you anyway.
There you go. That was Kedai just for that. Yes. Anyway, so you must not be a Kohen.
No, Zevi, I think I'm going to give you back your membership for the shul.
Anyways, yeah. So afilu manis the chol nami. So you would think to prevent the Kohanim from fighting, so let's just do all the portions so they don't fight about it. Kamash Malan, no, you're not allowed to. Fine. Now the next Gemara is just brought parenthetically because it's the same mandoma. Rav Yaakov braid the Bas Yaakov, right? Since it's an interesting person that's not always born in the Gemara, so the Gemara brings another memra. Kol shechaveri nenash, and this is a very scary Gemara. I can't say I understand it, but it's a scary Gemara. Kol shechaveri nenash al yadai ein machnisin oisim mechitzas shel Kadosh Baruch Hu. Anybody who gets punished, and anybody who causes his friend to get punished, will not go into the mechitza of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Meaning, meaning if you caused your friend, I don't want to say you, if a person causes a friend to get punished, right, then by whoever, it can either be
he can't ask Mechila? He can't ask Mechila?
I guess he can ask. No, the guy deserved the punishment. That's the chiddush. The guy deserved it. Meaning, you have two guys have a business, right, or whatever. They have a business deal, and one guy shafts the other guy, stabs him in the back. So the other guy davens that this guy should get punished for the avla that he did, and he gets punished, and he deserved it. Still, the guy who caused him to get punished is not going to be in the mechitza of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because even if the guy rightfully the guy deserved the punishment. If he didn't deserve the punishment, so of course you're oisvar. If you want somebody to get punished for no reason, the guy deserved the punishment. Still, you're in trouble with Hashem for
But
causing.
you didn't
somebody to
cause
get
it.
punished.
He doing the thing to you caused it.
No, but if somehow you davened or something like that he should get punished, then Hashem is not happy with it. Right?
It's any case of lifnei iver.
It's what?
Any case of lifnei iver. If you're around lifnei iver and you cause him to do something, you cause him to get punished for doing an avera.
You're causing him to do punished. Yeah, okay, that's for sure in Issa. But this is even where you did nothing wrong. He did something. Yeah, you're right, 100%. That's where you mamish caused somebody to do something wrong. This is where the guy, you did nothing wrong. You were a malach. He did something wrong to you totally on his own. Right? He stole from you. A guy comes, steals from you, straight out stealing. You can't nail him. You don't have videos of it. You don't have anything of it. And then you daven to Hashem that he should get punished. He should get his, which I imagine everybody on this daf has had a situation where they said, I hope that this guy gets what he deserves, right? I don't know, maybe not. You guys are all tzaddikim, but I'm just saying, at some point everybody says, I hope this guy gets what he deserves. If you daven like that and the guy gets his punishment, Hashem is very unhappy about it. That's what he said. That's what this Gemara says. Right? That's what it's saying. Minalan, how do you know? Mipi yifate es achav v'yal v'yipol b'ramis gilad v'yom ezeh b'choy v'zeh b'choy. Right. So this is talking about Achav, right? And they were trying to get Achav to die for something that he did wrong, right? And they said, and different people were giving eitzes. Let's go this. Let's do this. V'yatza ruach, and a ruach went out. V'yamid l'fnei Hashem, and it's meaning a spirit, somebody's spirit. We'll see who's in a minute. I'm going to coerce him to go out to this place. And he said, so I'm going to go out. I'm going to lie, meaning he's going to say, not lie to lay down, meaning to lie, to say a falsehood. And I'm going to be mafatim, and we're going to try and get him to go to this place. And we said, what is this ruach? Rabbi Yochanan said, ruach novus. This is the ruach of novus. Yeah. Or might say, what does it mean? Go out. You see, Hashem told the ruach of novus to go out from the mechitza. Now, basically, the story with novus and Achav was, Achav wanted some land that novus had, and novus did not want to give it up to him. So Achav's wife made up a whole story, and they got the land away from him. So he had all sorts of tightness, rightfully so, because it was taken from him shaloi kedin. So then when it came time to punish Achav, so the ruach of Novus came and said, I'm going to get him to go this and this place, and that's where he's going to end up falling. Right? So but it still says, Hashem told him, Save can go out and go and do this. So he's saying, when Hashem said, say, man, get out of here. I don't want you near me. So Gemara says, right? But maybe there, because he actually had to lie. In order to get Achav out of there, he had to lie. And lying in front of Hashem is not happy with lying. So therefore, maybe that's not a proof. Ella, Mehacha comes from another case. Yeah? But Hashem
didn't have to do it if he doesn't like it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe because one of the fellows said a few minutes ago the word lifnei Eva. Maybe you're doing lifnei Eva to the Rabban Shalom. You're forcing the Rabban Shalom to do something that he doesn't want to do.
I hear. I don't know. I wish I understood this. I wish. I don't. I mamish have no idea what's going on. Yeah. So
the word is savata.
Savata. Yeah. What did I say?
Shabbos or something?
Yeah. Shabbos. I'm sorry. I made that mistake a few times when I was reading the Gemara. Yeah. Savata calling the coverage say gamata v'oral. Right. This is talking about. Rashi says talking about by nevuchadnetzar, and the rest of them is going to be about nevuchadnetzar. Right. So basically, what Nebuchadnezzar used to do is he used to be a mishkav. He'd be over a mishkav zachar with any king that he captured or anything like that. So he would be a mishkav zachar with them. Right? And Tzidkiyahu, who was a tzaddik, we're going to see in the Gemara that's going to be weiter. So he also tried to do this too. So anyways, so it's saying at the time, not the time, I made the mistake. You had Sabata means you've been satisfied with curses. Well, Colin really doesn't mean curse, it means to be embarrassed. Mekovach, say gamata v'oral. Yeah, so what does this mean? Sabata Colin Mekovach, you have been full of Colin instead of covet from
shame rather than honor.
That's right. Colin is bad. Colin is a bad thing. Mekovach is honor. Right? Zen nevuchadnetzar. That's referring to nevuchadnetzar. Right? Shasei gam ato v'haral zeh tzidkiya. Right? And you should drink, and the oral is tzidkiya. What does that mean? Chada the kule kra. I'm sorry, tzidkiya. So tzidkiya. So chada the cool. First one shot is the kule kra and nevuchadnetzar ksiv. The whole pasuk is talking about nevuchadnetzar. V'ay tzidkiya tzadika. Tzidkiya was a tzaddik, so why is he getting involved in this pasuk with nevuchadnetzar? My havalei lemever. What should he have done? My havalei lemever. Right? What should he have done to him? Ta'amar of Yudam Arab Shasha Bikash Rasha Lasis Lasis Tzaddik when he wanted to do this, which we're going to see in the Gemara in a minute, what went on. But whatever it is, so you see that meaning we wanted to say that Tzidkiya got Nevuchadnetzar punished, right? So you see, and it wasn't a good thing. So we're saying no. What else should he have done? So that's no raya that somebody who gets somebody else punished, right, is a problem. Elameyach of someplace else. Yeah. From here we go another. We have a different shot. Gam enosh letzadik loy toiv. Punishing, right? Punishing for a tzaddik is not good. Now that's not touched as don't punish a tzaddik. Right? Meaning even for tzaddikim to be involved with punishment is not a good thing. Ein loy toiv ela ra. What does loy toiv mean? That means bad. Uksiv ki loy el chafetz resha ata lo yigur chara. You're not Hashem who wants bad things, right? And lo yigur chara. Bad doesn't live by you. Tzaddik ata Hashem v'lo yogur b'mugur chara. Tzaddik Hashem is a tzaddik, and nothing bad should be by him. Right, so meaning somebody who wants bad for somebody else is not going to be living by Hashem. Yeah, fine. Okay, so that's basically how we know that there's no bad by a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Punishment is no good. My mashma da'ai chaloshim lishon the purahu. How do we know that the lishon of chaloshim? Right, the Mishnah says the Kohanim do chaloshim. So how do we know that chaloshim is a lashon of pura, of doing raffles? Tichsiv eich nafalta mishamayim. How did it fall from Shemayim? Hillel ben Shachar Nigata La'aretz Chaylesh Agayim. Right, the one who shines, right? Ben Shachar, the son of the morning. Nigdacha La'aretz Chaylesh Agayim. You got cut down to the ground. The one who's Chaylesh Agayim, who puts raffles onto the Gayim. Yeah. Okay, fine. So now what does this do? Amar Rabbi Baravuna Malavet Shayim Matul Pural Gedoyle Malchus Leida. This is what we were referring to before. That nevuchadnetzar did a raffle every day of which kings are going to be part of nevuchadnetzar raping them. Right? Uksiv kol malchi goyim kulam, and it says all the nations. Amar of Yochanan, shenachum mishkav zachar, meaning once Nebuchadnezzar died, then everybody was peaceful because they were no longer going to be raped by Nebuchadnezzar. As long as that Russia, Nebuchadnezzar, was alive, there was no laughing at all. The world became quiet, and they were actually singing. Before, meaning until now, until Nebuchadnezzar died, there was no singing. Meaning he had such a fear on the world because of his craziness that there was no happiness in the world till he died. You're not allowed to stand, right, in the house of the, meaning in his house, in his palace. It says that Seirim will dance over there. Seirim is, how do you say it? It's how do you call
demons.
And now Rashi says V'lo Anoshim, right? Yeah. So V'amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Rabba Shosha Bika Shosha Rosh Lasses. We just have to finish. I'm sorry, going a little late. V'amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Rabba Shosha Bika Shosha Rosh Lasses Leitzit Tzadik Kach. When he wanted to do this to Tzidkiya, Nimshicha Arlasai Shalish Meas Amma. His arla, his foreskin, went out 300 amas, sort of like Pinocchio's nose, right? And it went around the whole party. Shenemar Savata Kolim Mikovich say Gam Atov Oral. So oral, the same puzzle we said before, and oral, the Gamatri Shloish Meyas have it. Oral's Gamatri Shloish Meyas, meaning basically what he did on nevuchadnetzar. He used to have these big parties, and then he would go rape somebody at the party. So when it came to do tzidkiyo, so his arla grew to 300 amas long, which was quite embarrassing for him. When nevuchadnetzar went to Gehenim, Rosh Kol Yardei Gehenim, everybody in Gehenim started getting nervous, right? Which is quite interesting, right? You got to be in some madrega that the guy's going to Gehenim, and everybody in Gehenim starts shaking that this guy is coming into Gehenim with them. Maybe he's coming to rule over us in Gehenim too. Or he's going to be shvach in Gehenim just like us, meaning the people in Gehenim. Yeah, so is you are going to be as weak as us, or are you going to be a ruler over us? So who is Nima's nice, right? Go down and sleep with the rest of the Arelim, right? So therefore you're going to be in nevuchadnetzar is going to handle just like the rest. He's not going to rule over anybody in Gehenim. Okay. Eich Shavas Noiges Shavsam Medaheva, right? How it rested the person who well, that's the question. How you touch this word Madheva. Eich Shavas Noiges Shivsa Madheva, how it stopped this person, the person that's causing everybody so much stress. Shasa Umazu, this Uma, the Bavel, is done, right? She'amra, that they said, Medoid Vahavi, measure and bring, right? Meaning bring all the gold to us. Vigada Amri, meaning that's what it's saying. There's no longer any more gold. Vigada Amri, She'amra, Ma'id heavy Palai Mida. Bring more without any sort of measurements, right? Fine. So that's here Mateva meaning like gold. Fine. For Rabbi Yisera Hisaftali, right? And the more greatness you gave to me, Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah Barabba Malamed Sherachav Al Oir Ari Zachar, meaning Nebuchadnezzar went out for 7 years. Rashi says, for 7 years Hashem punished him, and he went out, and then he came back, and he was still a good king, a big king, not a good king. Anyway, so when he came back, he used to ride on a lion, not on a horse. He would ride on a lion. The kesher tanin b'roshei, and he had some sort of snake on his head. The kayim mashenemer v'gamis chayas asadan asati lo lavda. He gave him all the chayas of the field as his servants. Okay, I'm sorry for the overtime, but yeah, all right. Good enough, everybody.
Thank you.
Fine.
Nice, good.
Okay, I'm going to look into the waiter to the menu list, but I know that here in the footnote, Shlomo Zalman says look at. He doesn't say why, but I have to find out why. I have to look in some other achraynish svarim and see. Yeah. All right.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Fine. Okay. Good night.
Good night. Good night, Jacob.
Parrots, what's going on, Parrots? You all right?
Yeah, but Hashem. How's are coming along? Got almost all the air conditioners in.
What'd you end up doing with the air conditioners?
I got those split units.
Oh yeah, from who? From that guy?
My maintenance guy's putting it in.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna stop the recording.